Colonizing new worlds during the dark age of technology. Humanity's power and influence grew during that age. The spirit of humanity's endeavour had ever risen to the sternest challenges, be it interstellar exploration, trade, and, inevitably, warfare, presented challenges like nothing mankind had faced before. Planetary colonisation proceeded at a ferocious rate. But what tech could have been used? How did things start and grow on a new planet? And what did the STC set up for the colony to help them get started? What role could AI have played? Let's begin. Now, I imagine rather than being cast into the unknown, each of these colonisation ships had a destination, even if it was a planet or a sector scouted out by some unlucky soul, for example. With the Leagues of Votan, we are told the earliest ancestors departed the homeworld of Terra aboard fleets of generation ships. The kin were cloned people from the beginning, and the Iron Kin left Terra with them. And when they set out, it was as miners, prospectors and void dredgers, sent out to exploit the riches of the heavens. They reached the galactic core, and from here the clone Skyn let the Votan create specific characterizations in the clones, be it denser muscle, tougher bone structure, etc., and many other benefits as well. To my mind, they were sent out with the purpose of mining that place, their STC loaded with appropriate knowledge, and their clone bodies made to match what they would face. And note also generation ship, so likely before the invention of the warp drive, which lets ships travel the galaxy in much less time. So, find a planet, and then that's why they made the STC construct machines, or STCs, that allow human colonies to rapidly fashion everything they need to dominate new worlds, from whatever natural resources were available, and to help were thinking machines of vast intellect that administered to the need of every colony world. These places would have started off small, from Dante by Guy Haley. The Colonia was laid out to a standard settlement pattern, dredged out of an STC, a grid of streets with designated areas for industry, governance and habitation. Neatness was inherent to its conception. Hard to believe a hive world can spring from a seed like this, said Dante. Something like this will grow into a hive city over time, and with that in mind from Calgar's siege, colonization in the age of the Emperor, but still gives us an idea of what it would have been like. In time, the city had begun to grow as more settlers arrived from all over the eastern fringe, and the beasts of the jungle had been thinned out by bloody killing drives. Something like a true economy had become established, as opposed to the barter markets of old. The years went by, and they hacked farmland and towns out of the Tagus, and tried to attract as many settlers and colonists as they could to Zaladar, for they needed people above all else. So over time, the hive creep kicks in. The populace will likely get one hive city, which will grow, and then there will be another, and over time those hive cities will grow up and take over the surface of the planet, and the planet will become a hive world. We also know over time that colonists could arrange the worlds to their will with some sort of technology, knocking down mountains, filling in the seas and diverting rivers, the planet clay in their hands. Coming back to those handy STCs, they were a way to ensure that all the recently far-flung human colonies across the galaxy could build anything they needed, from air purifiers to military-grade weaponry, had buildings to plasma reactors, which, as each settlement grew, could help humanity join up and become one large empire over multiple generations, and in line with this, it would likely have the function of having enough knowledge to help each society get their starting point, settling the planet, then spreading to nearby habitable planets. They could also have created clones to help with the establishment of the settlement, made to suit the tasks they might have been given, or later, once linked up with the large galaxy, when the Men of Iron were around, the STC might have produced Men of Iron to protect those on the planets, or hold certain local borders, or maybe just to do general simple tasks. We know the Men of Iron helped mankind hold the borders of their empire. Their numbers will be near infinite in production, provided the STC have the resources to draw on. But what if worlds nearby the colony are not people-friendly? The quiet one at the party that's probably really interesting if you talk to them. Yes, that's my damage. Well, In Death Worlder by Victoria Hayward, we see on a Tyrannid invaded world a device called a creation engine, which can restore dead worlds after the Nids have eaten them. The purpose of the machine is to terraform to create a suitable environment from an unsuitable one. It starts by using the materials furthest from the life it is designed to support, but it will eventually work through everything at its disposal to complete its function. It builds new things by taking over old things and taking them apart. Could this device have been tucked away within an STC database, so when a world begins to colonize those around it, it could change dead worlds to living ones? So for example, if a lush world is nearby a dead one, they could double their crop by changing the dead one into a lovely one where you can grow the crop. And at that point they would have had or would need space elevators such as Indrasul, which was said to spread out tree branch style to form docks and orbital facilities, potentially to move, say, grain from farms up into orbit to be taken off planet to trade or serve others in the area. What was on them will of course change with the planet. Now talking Dark Age of technology, around the Iron Hand's home planet of Medusa lies the Telstarax. This was used to move the planet's minerals into space. Now, being more specific with the tech had within STCs, we know they had what became Imperial Knights, big fighting mechs, based around a knightly society. To defend, scout or construct, maybe they helped build the hive worlds for example, or hive cities, depending on what stage the planet's at, or were controlled by AI to do so. Or we know the troop transport, the Rhino, originally was called the RH-1NO, was an exploration and multiple purpose defence vehicle. It was used to take a jaunt around newly colonised worlds, and of course once you establish a patch of land you need to hold it. Now I've covered this elsewhere, but what weapons could hold these sorts of places? Outside of ships, possibly AI led with a human pilot. As we move forwards through the Dark Age of technology, there were macro cannons that could fire from the ground into orbit and level a city. There were also virulent bioagents and mighty land ships the size of hives, or in one example a combat augment array that lets you arrange an average untrained citizen into a roided up space king. And once the planet is established and of a certain size, they might want to connect to other colonies via technology, such as the Callium Gate. The one we know of is a relic from the Dark Age of technology. In the Callium system, these stations are connected by cables and form a necklace and would allow a growing colony a warp gate that allows travel through the warp between two fixed locations, like the webway did for the Eldari. This didn't just have to be for ships, but for people also to travel through these obviously small versions that would allow small vehicles or humans to move between worlds without a ship. These could be on a planet's surface and again lead to a fixed location, so this might have been what your layman would do, your average person did. Pop to meet the wife for lunch, travelling through the local warp gate and popping out on another nearby or perhaps distant planet. So what do you think to the colonisation during the Dark Age of technology? What tech Xenos brought could they have faced against? What other Dark Age tech should I mention? Let me know in the comments, and if you like this video on the Dark Age of technology, try checking out this one.